Greetings, everyone. Are you affected by the new immigration rules that just got rolled out in Florida? Tell me in the comment section, or if you know anyone. Sometimes when you hear of breaking news or changes, you can just brush it off because it doesn't affect you or anyone that you know. But when it hits close to home, you know, it, it gets your attention in a different way because the new rollout of the changes, the immigration rules that got changed in terms of undocumented persons living in Florida really hit home. For one, I know a few individuals who shared with me their concerns and their fears that this thing could affect them. And, as I always say, when we are fearful, all we do is invite negativity. And I understand why these individuals were feeling scared. But at the end of the day, instead of operating in fear, you just have to act. Now, this one individual told me that she was, in a kind of precarious situation as it relates to these new rules. And unfortunately, this morning, she happened to be one of the ones that got nabbed on her way to work. Now, if you don't know, the new rules in Florida in terms of undocumented worker is that it's no longer just a situation where, oh, if you get caught, you're going to be deported. The people who used to assist persons who were, living there illegally are now held responsible if they entertain these ones. I guess if you put pressure on people, in this case, they're seen as enablers. But doctors and nurses and teachers are now put in a position where they must report. If they don't report, people that they suspect of being illegal, they could lose their license. And so there is this mad rush for people who are undocumented to get out of Florida and to go to other states. But I suspect it's been rolled out in Florida at the moment, but I'm sure it's going to be across the country. It's just not a new thing. And the thing is, some of these individuals that are undocumented are doing work like, I had to write down some of the things that this individual told me, the areas where this person worked, because it's two males and one female, and areas where work was available. And now it's going to be more difficult for people to get work in these areas. But at the same time, so many people are fleeing Florida and said that, so that just means that there are these vacancies that Americans are not interested, or a lot of people who have their papers are not interested to work. For example, agriculture, sheetrock, electricity, framing, conduits, and so on and so forth. These areas are mostly are these positions are fulfilled by people without papers. And so, as they're flying or fleeing Florida, there are these shortfalls. Um, for example, they were saying fruit and vegetable pickers that work on the farm, roofers, people who do health care, like take care of the elderly and the children. A lot of these individuals are leaving, which now puts people with their landed status, or maybe in America you say they're green card holders or citizens, are not able to go to work because, their maid or their helper or their nanny had to flee. And so it's really a unfortunate situation all around. And then there's news that in Miami, some of the supermarket shelves are empty because the truckers are refusing to deliver goods to Miami because of what's going on in the state. So as we speak, some black and brown people are planning, some protest. I think it's in June, early part of June, in support of these individuals who now find themselves on the run. Remember, I keep telling you that I have had a series of dreams with people leaving in mass exodus. I can't remember when but it's a few months back. And up to recent, I keep seeing this group of people running, and I can't determine exactly where it is. I mean, this look like some of the things that are about to unfold as it relates to people who live in the United States without proper papers. It is very unfortunate. And it's easy to say to people, do not overstay on your visa. But sometimes when people get the opportunity to come to or go to America, because I don't live in America, to go to America, they seize the opportunity. And some of them have gone there and worked really hard and made good for themselves. Some of these undocumented people actually own homes in America. But I guess that doesn't really matter. I think each person's situation should be examined carefully. Everyone's situation is different. And so while I'm not encouraging individuals to go, to America and overstay on their visa and end up being in a situation where they're illegal, I'm saying there are circumstances where people are fleeing, from wherever they come from. And America is a safe space for them. And for many of our people from Jamaica left home and went to America and made good of that opportunity, sort themselves out. But it's not always that easy for everybody. Some persons might work minimum wage and so they can't afford lawyers. And some of these lawyers, let me tell you, they know they have no intention of helping you, and yet they'll take big money from some of these persons trying to sort themselves out. And some people say, well, these individuals should, you know, come together and get married, but it isn't everybody who wants to enter into those kinds of relationships. Some people see marriage as sacred, and so they don't want to marry someone just so they could get their stay. And so it's easy for us to say, why don't you do this or that? Everyone has to make that decision for themselves, what is right for them. But it's unfortunate that, so many of our people are getting caught up in this. Apparently Ron DeSantis, I think he's the governor of Florida. He's the one that is sort of pushing this thing, and I think today, if I'm not lying, it has become effective today. And so now, it's not just a situation where when you get grabbed, you get sent home. Now it's a felony. And if someone is caught helping someone without proper papers, these persons could face a lot of time in prison. That is very, very scary, if you ask me. So let's say, for example, if you're driving, and you offer a ride to someone who doesn't have paper, and you're pulled over, you're going to be held responsible. So I guess you're now put in a position where if you're going to offer someone a ride, they have to show you their papers, their travel documents. Wow. I can just imagine all the people who are from Jamaica who are in Florida at the moment, how nervous they are. Because you see, they're smart. When they put pressure on the employers, they know if you're not employed, you can't stay. And they know that if you're sick and you can't get help without fearing that you're going to be reported, you won't be able to stay. So they're really putting pressure around all the areas that would affect somebody's, you know, way of life, your health, your finances. Wow. Your freedom to move about as you please. So much is changing in the world. And, if people feel like this is a Florida thing, you better think again. it was always very difficult to just get up and leave from your country and to go to a strange place and to start from nothing. So many people who have been in those situations have had to struggle so much, go through so much abuse. You know, you have young ladies sharing stories with me that when they went to America, they were there working as nannies, and they had, such discomfort from having, men in the household make advances at them, and if they rebuffed them, they were told that they couldn't stay. So many stories of people having a difficult time with going to America, being invited. People encourage them, because sometimes some of these people overseas will encourage you to leave your job and to come and stay with them. And after you give up everything, and which is very silly, but sometimes desperation causes people to do desperate things. You get rid of all your things. Sometimes people borrow loan. They can't just go back home now because they're in debt to other people, or sometimes they leave their children back homes just to seek a better situation for them and their children, only to find themselves in this situation where they, they're on the run. In the comment section, share your thoughts with me. What do you think about these new rules? What do you think is behind it? Ultimately, do you think this is going to go through? As I said, the truckers in Miami have, I'm not sure if I stated it here, but in Miami, the supermarket shelves are empty in some parts. And, gas, there's a gas shortage because some of the truckers refuse to deliver these goods or services, because I guess they're doing it in protest of the black and brown people that are affected by this. It's not a new thing. You see it happen in England as well. You see it happen in different places in the world. I just feel like each person's situation should be looked at individually. But when there are these changes, oh, I think it has to do with getting everybody under a kind of system where you can, you know, how can I put this? If you're able to keep tabs on all your citizens, you have better control. If you're living in a country without proper documentation, then you threaten that. One would ask, well, why not offer them? Because some of these individuals don't mind, you know, being a part of the matrix. Offer them the opportunity to be legal citizens. If you try to stop to think about it, it's just a lot of it doesn't make sense. So, do you know anyone who's affected by this? Are you affected by this yourself? Are you living in fear? Do you have any backup plans? One individual told me, I ran away from my abusive husband. I have nowhere else to go but straight back to where I come from if I get deported. That is just so sad, so scary too. Can you imagine being in that position? So yeah, with all the rollout of these new plans, and I think if I'm not lying today, it's in effect. Let me know if it isn't, when it will be. I just know that one person realized that fear today. The very thing she feared, and she was hoping at the end of the month she could move somewhere else, and on her way to work today, that was it. So these are scary times, if you ask me. Let's talk about it. Share your thoughts in the comment section. Like, comment, and share. Stay blessed, everyone.